So now we will create a tiny project just to learn how to, get things started with this. And of course, we have a few options in how to view our projects, and we're going to learn that right now. So open the terminal and open the IDE. Now on the IDE, I've opened a project, created a directory called Project 0. You can call this whatever you want. This is going to be real simple, right? We're going to create on this course like four, maybe 5 different projects. This one is just to learn how to install things. So I've navigated to the that directory on the Visual Studio Code, and on the terminal did the same thing. I went to that directory. So now we need to run the Creative Native App CLI. So I'm going to go to the terminal. I'm going to say create, then React, and never forget the native. If you don't do native, it's going to create just a standard React application for web. Then dash and then app. And since I'm already inside the directory I want, I'm going to do space and dot. Now, if you're on the, on my documents or, the root directory, and you want for the CLI to create a folder, a directory for you and put all the files inside, what you do, you just pass the name of the name of the project you want. But in my case, I'm already inside the directory I want, so I'm going to do space and dot, and then press enter. It's going to take a few seconds. It's going to bring all the files right here. Okay, so everything was installed, and at the end you get some options right here. Yarn start. In your case, if you're using npm, maybe you're gonna get npm start. So you need just to replace yarn with npm. So it starts the development server, so you can open your app with Expo. What is Expo? Okay, we're gonna talk about this in a minute. So then you have yarn run iOS, run Android, and the tests and the eject. Okay, that is good. That it's really good. So now let's go to the project, and we can see the whole structure of our project. And the main file, just like we get for React for Web, is going to be the app.js. So we get the imports, some modules from React Native. And inside of here, we have our class with the render and the return. And just like we spoke previously, we have a wrapping component, which is the view. And if you notice, this view comes from a component inside React Native. If I remove this and reload the application later to see it on Expo or on a different platform, this is not going to really work. So we need to import the components we want to use, right? And right here, for example, we have the text component. So every time we want to add some text, we need to always wrap everything inside a text. So the text is going to be kind of the paragraph tag for HTML, same idea. Okay, so this is really good. And then, for example, right here we are importing the style sheet, and on the style sheets we're gonna add styles, and they look like CSS, but they are not really a CSS. But don't worry, we're gonna talk about all of this later. Right now, the only thing we care is how can we run this, this text, this screen, this component, our application on a device or maybe a simulator or something else. How can we do it? So you have a few choices, and they all kind of suck, but it's what we get. So the first one is going to be running on Expo. So what is Expo? Expo is an application that we can install in our phone. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, doesn't matter. You can install on the phone, and it will open an application that will load your app, and it will show you on the screen. So again, this works just like we spoke previously. Expo uses a frame, and what it does, it puts your application inside of that frame. So you're not really running your native application. You're just running an application that runs your app, just the view of your app, right? So first we need to install Expo. So go to your phone. Okay, so before running anything on the phone, just have your phone ready. What we need to do yarn start or npm start. So let me just run it and we will go through it. So I'm gonna say yarn start. I'm gonna press enter. It's gonna take a few seconds. And now, and this is important, if you get this sudo and whatever, max files, whatever, And this is kind of an error we get with this by default. So the solution for this will be copying this line. Just copy the line, paste it right here, press enter. It's going to ask for your password if you're on a Mac, and same thing with the second line. Just copy and paste it. Right, I'm going to do clear, and I'm going to run yarn start again, and the problem is going to be fixed. All right, so it's going to take a few seconds, and after a little while, you can see right here you get a folder or directory for Expo right here on the left. Just let's give it a minute. All right, so after it's done, it's going to start a development server, right here. So it's going to give you this big QR code. So what you will need to do is download the Expo application from the Google Play or the Mac Store. And once it's installed, the application is installed in your phone, you can scan the QR code and you can see it in your phone. So go to your phone now. So in your phone, go to the App Store or the the Play Store, I believe, and search for Expo. And you will, of course, need to install it. I've already have it installed in my phone, so just install it first. Once it's done, just open the application and you will get a screen just like this. So what you will need to do, just tap on the scan QR code, just like this. And it's gonna open the the camera so you can scan the code. So what you will need to do, let me just close this. You go and try to scan this with your phone. I'm gonna do the same thing and then share my screen on here. Okay, so now I'm showing you a cast of my phone. I have a a Chinese phone. I don't use phones a lot for testing or for everything else. I have other phones, but I don't have them right here right now. I have it on my other home. Doesn't matter. So right now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with Expo. So of course, you need to install the application. So go to Expo, and inside of Expo it's going to take a minute, and I had to reload the yarn start. I had to run it again because I was running the phone and the computer on a different location. So on right here, my connection was from from cable, something else. And the phone, of course, is using Wi-Fi, so they were on a different network. So you need to make sure that your computer and your phone are running on the same exact network. If not, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna press on scan QR code. You need to scan the code. It's gonna take a few seconds. And right at the bottom is going to take 1 minute. You should be getting kind of a message or maybe a bar saying doing the bundle, and it's going to give you a percentage. So let's give it a minute. All right, it's going. Right here you get the building JavaScript bundle on the terminal. And one thing I have to tell you with this kind of technologies is that this is going to happen pretty often. So you're going to scan the QR code, and then the program or whatever is going to try to build a bundle. And this takes a while, right? Takes a long time. Sometimes takes a long time. So the only choice you have is to wait. You just need to wait. There's nothing else you can do right here. Okay, so after it's done doing all of this, it's gonna give you the screen in your actual phone, right? So I'm sure I'm on my phone, just working on my phone. And of course, if you go out and go in, you just click on that and it's gonna show you the application you're running on a development mode, the development server. So again, this text is the same text we have on our app.js, which is the main entry of our application. So, everything works. So, okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to delete this. Just going to delete it. Make some space. And I'm going to save the application. Just going to save the application. Sometimes, it's really slow. So I'm going to try to, and right here, whenever you make a change, it's going to, of course, recognize the change and display the changes. So, that's good. That really, really works. So this is one way you have to, inspect your application on the device, so you can do it on the real device. The problem is that with Expo, again, we are running an iframe. It's not the real application. So some things are going to work and some other things will not work at all. So to run your applications, to inspect them because you need to see them, you have a different choice, which instead of using Expo is going to be running a simulation, right? A simulator, running a real operating system for an Android device or a real operating system for iOS. And here comes the downside. If you're in a Windows computer, you can simulate an Android device, but not an iOS device. You cannot do it. It's impossible. Yeah, I know. So if you want to, right from the start, if you want to create an app for both platforms, Android and iOS, you're not going to be able to do it just with your computer, with your Windows computer. You will need a Mac. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If you want to create for Android, for iOS, you need to buy a Mac. I know it really sucks. I had that problem a while ago and now I have a Mac. So there's no way of escaping this. Now, if you own a Mac, if you're working on a Mac computer, you're a happy person because you can build for Android and iOS. You can run both simulators and have all the tools. But if you're a Windows user, you just build for Android. Sorry. So that's the way it works. You expect this behavior with these companies, and more with Mac. And this is how Mac works. If you want Mac, you need to pay, and you need to pay a lot of money. I have both computers, and I use them both. I have a Windows computer and a Mac computer, and Mac works really, really great. But yeah, the downside is that you need to pay for everything. Everything is really expensive. So on the next sections, instead of running our application with Expo, we're going to do something else. And this is how we're going to be working on this course. We are not going to use Expo. I just wanted to show you this so you can use it as an alternative. But we're going to use the simulators, the Android simulator and the iOS simulator. And for this, we need to do a lot of things, because these simulations, they run a real operating system. So we will need to download the tools, install the tools and packages, and we will need to download the simulators, right? So all the operating systems. And this, of course, is going to take a while because they are really, really heavy, right? Okay. So let's go to the next section, and we're going to do something else. Instead of running Expo, we're going to start with the simulators.